Hello, this is Leisha Brain with Journey to Greatness, 365 days to your best year yet. And today I want to talk about positive thinking. Now, I've talked about this before in the past few weeks, but I think it's so important to focus on the positive, to be able to have that ability to course correct when you find yourself spiraling downward. And once you start spiraling downward, it can be difficult to be aware of the fact that it's happening, A, and B, it can be even more difficult at times to snap yourself out of it. There's a lot of people that will roll their eyes when they hear me talk about working on being a positive thinker. But to truly have the life that we desire, that we visualize in our mind's eye, we have to be able to focus on what it is that we do want, be aware of what we don't want, but put our energies on those things that we want to create. We're all creators. And I'm in no way saying that we want to neglect those things in our life that are obstacles or hurdles or things that are getting in our way. We have to confront all of these things. We have to accept their reality if they're real. And then we have to work at getting them out of our way. And this all sounds so simple, elementary, I'm sure. And in many ways it is, but then we have to ask ourselves, why do we allow ourselves to be affected by these elementary principles that we're not engaging in? Now, some of you may say, I have complete control over my thinking processes, and all I have to say is bravo. You are in that 1% of humanity. Because most people are ruled by their emotions and their subconscious thoughts. And so we have to work at being mentally healthy. We have to be aware so that we can become mentally healthy. We have to be aware of what we're thinking and feeling and how we're responding to those thoughts and those feelings. And we have to be mature enough to course correct our thoughts and take that little child within us, because that's the way I think of my thought processes when they're not so positive, and say, no, I acknowledge the fact that you're afraid, or I acknowledge the fact that you're having these negative thoughts, but come with me. Let's go a different direction. Yes, that's there, but so is all of this, all this good stuff that we can create if we get to work. Some of us have problems with approach avoidance, so we don't want to tackle situations that make us feel uncomfortable. We want to stay in our comfort zone. We have to overcome that as well. But if we're truly paying attention to what's going to bring us the most bang for our buck in the day, bring us the most incredible outcomes if we choose to focus on right-minded thinking and course correct throughout the day, then our days and our weeks and our months and even our year is going to end up on a much higher level. So today, I want to talk about building a new muscle, a mindset muscle, which really is a muscle. It's a habit. And we have to train our brain to be able to take on that new way of thinking and coping with the negative, so that we don't allow ourselves to get overwhelmed. That has always been my big problem, is getting overwhelmed with fear, things that might happen in the future, and a myriad of other feelings and emotions and thoughts that come along with all of that. And like I said, we don't ignore those things. We take a look at them. We make sure that we're aware, but at the same time, we don't live there. We put our focus back on what we can be, what we can do, And it's called getting on the solution level. So let's talk a little bit today about training our brain. Because when we train our brain to focus on what we can be, on what we can do, then we're expanding our personal power. And your brain is just like you're building up your biceps, your triceps, or your abs, or any part of your body. When we want to build a better body, we have to have a great workout. We have to work hard at it every single day with consistency. And the same goes for your brain. The truth is, it's a use it or lose it organ. And to really use it, you have to engage in the physical and the mental workouts. You see, the brain influences the body and the mind through the power of thoughts. And this power of thoughts can help you change bad habits and inspire you to new heights of success. So let's talk about how we're going to make that happen. Now, I am an advocate for exercise. I am not a perfect size 0, but I exercise every day. And I mix it up with riding my bike for a couple hours a day, well, anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours a day before I go to work, and weight training 3 times a week. Now, I'm 63 years old, and it is vitally important that as we get older, that we exercise and that we build muscle, because the muscle helps us properly burn off our calories, and it helps with our blood flow, and it helps with our brain. All of the exercise helps with our brain and its functionality. So physical activity stimulates the growth of new brain cells, and it helps produce a crucial protein called, now listen, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, excuse me. The protein is responsible for forming the new connections between the brain cells and protects them from degeneration. So when you're building your muscles, you're also building your brain. So please get out there and exercise, whether it's taking 10,000 steps a day, riding a bike for an hour and a half a day, getting on the treadmill, or getting to the gym and doing a little bit of all of that and lifting weights. You're going to be building a better brain, because your brain, there's a mind-body-brain connection that you can't deny. Here's the exciting news. The benefits of exercise on the brain can be immediate. There was a study in 2014 at Stanford University where undergraduate students were asked to sit down and complete a short series of creativity tests that involved thinking up alternative uses for common household objects, such as a button or a spoon. And next, the students took the same test while walking at a comfortable pace on a treadmill. For almost every student, creativity was boosted substantially when they walked. Most were able to generate 60% more new and practical uses for objects. And so I guess you might be asking, why does physical exercise affect the brain so powerfully? Well, it's because the brain is a highly vascular organ. It's filled with blood vessels. And exercise gets blood pumping through those vessels, delivering oxygen and nutrients to brain cells for clear thinking and optimum brain function. So it really doesn't matter what kind of exercise you're doing. As I've already said, it could be Zumba, it could be ballroom dancing, tap dancing, classes, line dancing. Anything that involves coordinated movements will power up your brain like nobody's business. So think about what you can start doing today to get your body moving. And even if you have to start out by just walking around the block, this is a way to keep your brain healthy and, of course, your body. But the two are one of the same. So you can't neglect the exercise piece if you're interested in really building a better brain. So as I started out talking about brain power, we can truly build our brain power with positivity. That's why we have to be the gatekeeper at the door of what we allow into our brain, what we allow ourselves to focus on. You know, all that positive, action-oriented thinking I've been talking about. I've been talking about it for weeks. So your brain actually loves it. Positivity prevents and it alleviates stress and anxiety, both of which kill your brain cells and prevent the creation of new ones. So all anti-stress relieving activities like relaxation and meditation that I've been talking about, well, there's really great news about that as well. These techniques will help improve your memory. So start meditating. Use relaxation techniques to help yourself build a better brain. And another thing you can do to build that positive mental resistance is to find more learning and mental challenges. The brain actually loves to learn, and regardless of how old you are, it yearns for learning. And it also loves a challenge. So both stimulate the growth of brain cells. The harder the challenge, the stronger the brain gets, and the longer new brain cells will survive. The point of having a brain is precisely to learn and to adapt to challenging new environments. This does not mean doing crossword puzzles every day. Your brain gets stronger when you challenge it with novel activities. And some examples of this would be studying a new language, learning to play a musical instrument, returning to school, taking up any new hobby that has a steep learning curve and requires mental focus, such as like sailing, painting, woodworking. And the truth is, a new language, especially for an older person, is probably one of the best things you can do aside from taking on a new instrument, because there's so much coordination involved. If you're learning how to play a piano or an instrument, you're having to use your body and your mind and your memory and learn a whole new skill. And that's the same thing with language. It involves so much memory and connecting the dots. And if you can do that, you're literally building new brain cells in either one of those types of activities. So, and if you're focused on something that you love, well, guess what? You're focusing on something positive. Hopefully you have a purpose, because if you're a person that's living without a purpose, then you're lost. I'm sorry to say this, but you are. So I think before you do anything, you need to really think about what your purpose is. Regardless of what age you are or where you are in the life cycle, it really doesn't matter. We always need to go back and reevaluate what our purpose is. A lot of us on the older side of the spectrum, we've raised our children, and there was a point there where for about 20 years, we were a parent. We were raising our children. We were a mom or a dad and maybe a spouse to a partner. And a lot of people will find themselves with the empty nest syndrome. The family's no longer there. The family unit has moved on, and they find themselves lonely and lost. So we have to reevaluate what our purpose is. And when we have a purpose, when we have clarity as to what it is we want to do with our life, all of a sudden we've got that roadmap. It's a lot easier to stay positive because we know where we're going. We know what we're doing. We know what we want to accomplish. It's when we're lost that we get frightened, we get scared. The brain is desperately looking for something to cling on to. And because we have something called the negativity bias built within us, we will tap into that negativity subconsciously even. And because the brain wants to hold on to something, it wants something that's concrete, and we'll start ruminating and believing things that aren't even true and start scaring ourselves half to death. The key to getting out of our own way is to take control of the things that are controlling us. And 9 times out of 10, those things that are controlling us are not the circumstances outside of us. They're the thoughts and the emotions that are running rampant in our mind. So get yourself some clarity. Figure out what it is you want to create wherever you are in your life right now, and know that that's going to change. There's going to be changes as the life cycle progresses. But where are you right now? What do you want to accomplish this week, next week, this year? And get to work on that. Work on what you can be. Work on what you can do. And know that a happy brain, a positive brain, is one that's engaged, one that's challenged, one that is being challenged with new practices and new adventures. And catch yourself when you're feeling down. Catch yourself when you're feeling frightened. Catch yourself when you're thinking negative thoughts. And redirect those thoughts to what you can feel positive about. What you can focus on. What you can be. Now, I hope I've given you something to think about today. Our minds are the starting point of everything we see around us. If you're living in a cluttered, messy environment, it's because you've got a cluttered and messy mind. But just like you can clean up your environment, you can clean up your mind, and that's where it starts. And as I've been recommending for months now, meditation, mindfulness meditation in particular, is something that will help you clear up that messy mind full of negativity and frightening thoughts. It starts out that way when you're meditating, but it eventually calms the mind and quiets it down so that you can see clarity and where it is that you want to go. So let's work on something positive today. Let's do our mindfulness meditation. And I want you to sit up straight and in a dignified fashion. And I want you to ask yourself, what are you excited for? So are you sitting up straight? You can lay down if you want, but don't fall asleep. This is a wonderful meditation for focusing on what it is that we want and not focusing on what we don't want. Today we're going to focus on something that we are looking forward to. And now that we're settled, as we begin, please close your eyes and let's take 3 deep breaths in through our nose and then out through our mouth. So here we go. Deep breath in and out through our mouth. Deep breath in and out through our mouth. Deep breath in and out through our mouth. Take some time to think about something you are excited for. This can be something that will happen later today, next week, or even next year. What are you excited for? Picture whatever it is. What will it look like? Who will be there? Really try to picture the scene and notice everything about it. Now gently shift your focus to how you will be feeling. What will your body and mind feel like when you are there? Really focus all of your energy on what it will be like. Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling pleased with yourself? Are you excited about what's next? When you are finished, take a deep breath through your nose and release through your mouth. Here we go. Deep breath in and release. And slowly, slowly open your eyes. Now, I really want to thank you for being here today. And this is just a friendly reminder for you and for me. A lot of times I do these podcasts to remind myself of what I need to be focusing on right now. And for me, focusing on the positive, course correcting, and getting myself out of fear and into a state of doing and being is where I need to be right now. So oftentimes these podcasts are reminders for myself. Shift your focus. If you find yourself feeling frightened, if you find yourself feeling riddled with negativity and negative thoughts, you have a choice. You have a choice. You can choose to think differently. You can choose to focus on what you want to be. So take a look at what it is that you want to be today. If tomorrow and the next day and the year is too much for you, just focus on what you want to create today. And put yourself to work right now on that project. Be all you can be in the moment. Then be all you can be in the hour. Then be all you can be by doing your best throughout the entire day. God bless. Be bold, be brave, and always, always be your authentic self. Until we meet again.